Previously on Libel the Bible.
Where to begin? Scott's new chair?
How about with your unhinged rant over feedback from a listener?
You say unhinged. I say passionate.
You know who else was passionate? The 9/11 hijackers.
Sorry to care so much.
Anyway, the Philistines and Israelites are in a standoff.
Goliath, the Philistines' biggest and most proficient warrior, spends a month and a half challenging the Israelites.
Young David, the lyre player, takes offense to this uncircumcised giant calling out Yahweh's people.
David swiftly dispatches the Philistine with a sling.
I guess you can say he had a pair of large stones, huh?
The Philistines, seeing their greatest warrior dead, flee.
And now, episode 78 of Libel the Bible. Yeah, you're an intense person.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'm Rusty.
I am Scott, the one who often talks like he has a mouthful of foreskins.
A mouthful of Goliath foreskins.
Yeah. Man, I am a mumbling, jumbling idiot, huh?
Yeah, it took us quite a few takes to record our previously on just now. But, you know, we made it through. Scott made it through. He's all right. He'll live. Yeah. He'll learn. He's down on himself.
I get a little down on myself, man.
You think so? Sometimes?
It's just not a skill I have, man. It's just not a skill I have.
What's the skill?
Reading. Told you that.
All right, fair enough.
Performing. You know, it's performing.
You got to stay on the mic, though, bro.
I'm right. I'm like
no,
right.
you just like looked up at me and like, you know.
Maybe I won't look up at you anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Look up at me.
Is looking up at you the problem, man? You don't like people looking up at you?
I mean, listen, I could say nothing and just have you speaking into the air and people won't hear you. Yeah. Or I could say something.
I ain't got nothing to say anyway, right?
Sure, Scott. I could already see what kind of night this is going to turn into.
Yeah.
So, Scott.
Rusty.
How much do you wish right now that you were in that submersive by the Titanic?
I feel like I'm sinking now, so it can't be much worse than this.
I got to tell you. On a human level, it's kind of like fucked up thinking about like going into like, first of all, it's highly claustrophobic. Can you imagine being like in a tin can, like a small tin can with like 4 other people, and you're like tens of thousands of meters underwater, and potentially
that's
tens
a bit
of
of
thousands,
exaggeration.
potentially tens of thousands of meters underwater. Like 13,000 feet is whatever. It doesn't matter. Well, let's say tens of thousands.
It's like 4,000.
Let's say.
All right. Whatever.
Well, let's say.
They might be tens of thousands of meters.
I mean, the
down.
Mariana Trench is what? Like the
pretty deep.
Yeah, it's deep. Okay. So anyway,
like your intellect it goes very deep.
It's really scary, you know. Like just even if everything's going properly. Like, you probably hear, like, the creaking.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, because, like, the pressure is, like, forcing its way against the fucking submarine. Now, like, shit's gone wrong.
Yeah.
So you got to feel bad for them on the human level.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand...
Wait for this shoe to drop.
On the other hand, fuck them.
Fuck them is right, man.
Fuck them. Fuck them. You want to be a fucking rich boy doing rich boy shit with your rich boy friend who was told repeatedly, yo, this shit is not fucking safe. Yeah. Told repeatedly by numerous people. Yeah. Fired engineers that told them this shit is not safe. Yep. Right? See, what's weird to me is everyone online has their fucking focus wrong. They're focused on like the joystick that they're using to control the submarine, which is very standard. Like most like fucking submersives like that use that kind of joystick, like an Xbox or whatever, PlayStation joystick. That's normal. Let's start focusing on these cocksucker billionaires who think they could do whatever the fuck they want, whenever the fuck they want it, right? Well, you know what? Fuck you. And what's great is the guy that built this fucking submarine is fucking on it right now.
See, I heard it was widely believed he is on it. Like, they don't really know.
What do you mean?
I read just today, like, it's widely believed the CEO is on board. Like, how do they not know who's on board?
I mean...
Well, they're not telling us.
Because they can't confirm officially that he's on board, but the fact that he's, like, nowhere to be seen, and, he's going to be going along for the ride every time it goes down.
I just hope when he was welcoming his rich friends on board that they were high-fiving and was like, see, when you don't pay your taxes, you get to have things like this. And they were high-fiving, and oh, no, now we're dead. Yeah. Should have paid your fucking taxes, millionaires.
Yeah.
Billionaires. Sorry, billionaires, yeah.
Then one of the kids whose stepfather is like on board, you hear this? He was at a Blink-182 concert yesterday.
About that, yeah.
And apparently this kid is like a sexual assault or something, like specifically at concerts. So... it's very possible he wasn't even there for the concert. He was just there to, like, sexually assault people because people were, like, in his time of, like, grief, like, it's fucked up that he was at, like, Blink-182. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's how he was dealing with his stress. He went to Blink-182 so he can relieve his stress by sexually assaulting women.
Do you think you can relate to him? Because... didn't you just tell a story just like an hour ago about how you sexually assaulted somebody at Irving Plaza after a concert?
No, I didn't say. I didn't say anything close to that.
Oh, maybe I heard it wrong.
No, I mean, so now that Scott has brought it up, I guess I have to tell a story that I don't think is like funny for the air.
I find it funny. Just tell it quickly. Then,
I went to a concert with my wife. After the concert, we're leaving. We were at general admission. And I have my hand around my wife, and we're exiting the concert, and I'm talking to her, and people are, like, filtering out. And, it takes time to, like, leave because we were, like, near the stage, and we got to the exit door. So it's, like, a good, like, 2-3 minutes. I have my hand around my wife, and then I look over to my left, and my wife is there.
That's hilarious.
So that's when I realized, like, I don't know who I've got my arm around. And, like, she didn't say anything. And I'm, like, talking to her. I'm leaning in the whole time. So... yes. I guess you can consider that sexual assault. No. I don't.
No, but it was a funny story, and I think the audience would like to hear a wholesomely good story from you.
Okay,
not just the ravings of a madman. Just an occasional human story.
I guess that's fair, Scott. However,
did you a favor? I just did you a rep a favor.
However,
man.
The wholesome story started with you accusing me of admitting to you that I had sexually assaulted someone.
I might have just heard it wrong, man.
We could talk about my child's multicultural day. Would you like to do that?
No, that's different.
No? Okay. Just checking.
It's a funny story, man. The lead up was a little rough. It was a little clunky to lead up.
A little clunky.
A little clunky.
Okay.
So yeah, get back to these billionaires, man. So he said he's very anti-regulation, this guy, and I can understand on the surface.
Yeah, he's like safety. He said something about like safety. You should just stay home or whatever.
Just don't get out of bed if you want to. These things are obscenely safe because of all the regulations, which you chose to skirt, and now you're probably dead.
Right. Not yet. Mm-hmm. They still have air left.
Fuck. That's a shit way to go. If you don't get rescued.
The best way to go would have been just to have everything collapse and then just get crushed instantly to death, because that's what would happen. You don't even feel it.
I don't believe that, man. I believe when people say he died instantly in that car accident or that plane, fuck that. For a split second, man, you feel all the pain.
A split second, I'll grant you. Let's say 10 seconds. They are right now, if they're still alive, they've been alive for going on 48 hours now, knowing that no one can rescue them.
Unless the billionaire, the CEO of the company, is like, no, this is normal. No, we're cool. This is fine.
I'm sure.
Maybe he's a real chill dude and he's keeping him real calm.
I'm sure. So that's like always scary. I'm surprised Elon Musk hasn't like stepped in and offered like to build like a submarine like he did with those boys in Thailand. Remember the soccer team? Oh, yeah. And they were like, no, thank you. And he was like, oh, you're a bunch of pedophiles. Do you remember that when he threw like the hissy fit?
Yes.
What a fucking idiot that guy is.
Idiots are right.
Oh, my God.
But I'll tell you what. Listen, man. Billionaires can do what they want. Like, there's nothing illegal about what he did, I think, with this thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just he paid to play. His friends paid to play. And, they died. There's nothing. I don't think they broke any real laws. I mean, maybe they did. I don't know.
You know what we need? We're going to need like an eighth person in the studio with us who's like a legal scholar that we can ask questions, in order to satiate my friend that reached out to us to give us like his critique and advice.
Did he reach
That
back?
fucking idiot.
Whoa! Did he reach back? Oh, he wouldn't have heard it yet, right?
Sure, it's up.
It was up yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
so if you listen to our show,
I was away, man. There was no internets where I was.
but you haven't listened to like the last 4 episodes.
All right, let's not mince. Let's not. Whatever.
We're asking people to listen to our show. You're not listening to our show.
Do you know how exhausting? They can listen from a distance, man. I got to listen like right here.
That's true. Scott has to suffer the slings and arrows every week.
So what do you think of Davy and Goliath, man?
Davying.
Okay, we can't go with that, right?
Davy
It's
and
David and Goliath.
I thought the story was really good. It was much shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Much shorter, yeah. Almost as short as David. Oh, no, David was pretty tall for his people.
David was tall for his people?
That's why he got picked, right? Oh, Saul picked because he was tall. No, it was David. Who cares?
I don't remember that part at all.
Yeah, well, one of them stood above everybody, so he was the natural choice. Look, he's so tall and handsome. Okay. Was that David or was that Saul?
That was Saul.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. I mean, it's only the show that we're doing, why?
Well, I guess the lesson there is just don't look for the tall, dark, handsome people to lead you.
Yeah. Before we get into the Bible, I want to remind people that the YouTube channel is up and running.
Whoop, whoop.
Every episode is now uploaded. And we would appreciate if our listeners would go, Libel the Bible, just search for it on YouTube. It'll come up. Subscribe to our channel. The more subscribers we get, the closer we get to being able to monetize the channel. We monetize the channel. We invest in the show. The show becomes better. We add more segments. We can get guests. It opens up a lot of possibilities, which eventually benefit not only us but the audience. Because I was thinking about it this week, Scott. I got to tell you, even if we don't continue to gain an audience, even if we don't continue to gain an audience,
no, I heard you, man.
It's it's something to do. Like once a week, we get together, we record a show, we bullshit. I fucking aggravate you, you aggravate me. We laugh about it. So every once in a while, we have like a massive blow up, massive explosion, huge fight. We get it out of our systems. We reconcile. We have it's like that cycle of history that we just watched. The 80-year cycle of history. So even if we don't get any more subscribers, this is still fun to do. But again, if we had more subscribers and we were able to begin to monetize and invest in the show, it would be that much better for everyone involved, including the listeners.
Both of us would be in comfortable chairs, and that would definitely take away some of the aches and pains and some of the
microphones, better editing software.
Nah, you don't need that.
I don't?
You don't edit it.
That's true. Well, I mean, I process the audio. The audio gets processed, and sometimes I do edit it. Like if I say a name that you don't want me to mention on air, if you make a racial slur that you don't want on air, I'll edit that out. So anyway,
I deserve that.
Nothing else needs to be said about that.
I deserve that.
Once again, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. Maybe some of you have already done that because I did ask some of you in the last episode to do that, and we did gain 9 subscribers this week on the YouTube channel. Maybe some of you that are listening right now are those people, but we have more listeners than that, so please go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It wouldn't hurt if you liked a video or two. I
was going to ask you about that. So now, if you're asking people to go over to the YouTube channel just to get to subscribe, do you still want them to listen to it on on a major podcast, on a Spotify or an Apple or a Google, so we get ranks there?
So here's the thing, Scott.
It's tough, man.
When you take a lady out, or anyone, let's say whatever your preference is in this modern era, I want to be inclusive. When you take someone that you're attracted out, you don't whip your cock out the second that you show up to their house to pick them up.
He took it out.
You want to ease your way into whipping out your cock halfway through dinner. Right? So you don't want to scare them away. So for now, a subscription to our channel would be nice. If they want and are so inclined, it would tremendously help us out if they not only watch the video, they don't even have to watch the whole thing. They can hit play and like scroll through all the way to the end, and it counts as like a full play. But if they like and even comment, every interaction that we get on our YouTube channel helps us in the algorithm. Helping us in the algorithm helps us be seen. We actually, I showed you a message. We like the first day, someone reached out, like left a comment. They're like, "Oh shit, this is like a fucking awesome show." Like they just found us through like YouTube. That helps us in the algorithm. Anytime anyone interacts with our channel, it helps us. What are you going to do, Scott? Are you going to put down our show again?
No, I'm going to say we haven't ripped that person apart yet for leaving feedback.
Not yet. It was good feedback. I'm sorry, not so much good feedback. It was the right feedback. Okay?
Feedback that aligned with your fucking views.
Exactly, Scott. Right. So please, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. If you can, of course, like Scott said, you can comment, you can upvote, you can listen, but the bare minimum, us, subscribing to our channel would help us tremendously. Also, go check out, Scott's been working on our Libel the Bible page. It's got libelthebible.com. It's got some interesting information about episodes. It fact checks us. It's got revelations. It's got atrocities. It's got cool animations. It's just, spend 5 minutes browsing through it. Get a laugh.
Yeah. There's only like 5 minutes worth of stuff to look at anyway, man. It's not asking a lot. Now I'm getting mad.
I mean,
go like some shit. Go subscribe to some shit.
Scott's worked hard on it, So that's what it is. Scott works hard on the website, so he gets like passionate about that. Like I work hard on like all this other stuff, so I get passionate about that.
Yeah, you definitely work harder on more things than I do. That's for sure.
So, let's talk about the Bible, Scott. You want to talk about the Bible?
I guess that's why we're really here.
I mean, for the most part.
So I want to say one Samuel.
I mean,
so
we're also here to
some...
please our audience.
Yeah, well, without feedback, we don't know how to do that. So we're just taking shots in the fucking dark.
Well,
here.
we did get feedback, and the feedback was to bring 7 more people into the fucking studio to fact check, to do this, to do that. We got stupid feedback. So that, you know what? It's my fault. I didn't clarify. All right. If you're listening, those of you listening right now, obviously you're listening. I don't know why I said if you're listening, because if you're not listening, you're not going to hear it. Okay. If you hear my voice right now,
shoot yourself. Sorry, please don't do that.
We want feedback, but we don't want stupid feedback. We don't want dumb, stupid feedback like I read last week. Okay? So if you're going to provide stupid
all right,
feedback,
man. I think he gets the point.
we don't want it. So make sure it's the feedback we want. Leave that. And then we'll read it on air and make fun of it.
It's a no-win situation.
Yeah, either way, you're going to get roasted.
Yeah. Welcome to the Kobayashi Maru. Oh, you like that, right?
It's a Star Trek reference for those that don't know. Yeah. It's an unwinnable scenario.
So have you given any more thought to the feedback that we were commenting on last episode?
Not for a second. Yeah. Not for a second. Again.
That shows great growth in you.
Because, again, the feedback came from a person who doesn't listen to the show.
Maybe that's what we need, man.
Feedback from people who
that aren't listening to the show to find out what we can do to get people that aren't listening to the show listen to the show.
So I refuse to engage in this conversation because I don't believe that you're arguing with me in good faith right now. I think you're just trying to wind me up, and I'm not interested in that kind of a conversation. Now, if you really want to have a conversation about that feedback, I could do that. All right. But we already went through my rant, you know what I mean? But we can definitely have a conversation if you're serious about it.
We should have a conversation about it. Not right. We don't have to do it on air right now.
That's fine.
I'd have more fun picking on you on air than actually have a serious conversation.
Of course.
Save it for the staff meeting.
All right. Speaking of staffs, Jonathan's covenant with David. You think that's going to involve a staff?
What the fuck is that?
That's 1 Samuel 18. That's our reading for today. So everybody open up your Bibles. We're on 1 Samuel 8. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel.
These are your rules. These are your changes.
18. I don't make the rules, Scott. I just obey them.
Yeah.
I'm a faithful servant of Yahweh.
Yeah, you're the party of law and order, man.
Do you know which Bible we are using, Scott?
The new version.
The New Revised Standard Version,
yeah.
Updated Edition.
Yeah.
So
is that for the audience or is that for me?
That's for the audience. For those that want to read along, the New Revised Standard Version, Updated Edition, we're on 1 Samuel 18, Jonathan's covenant with David.
Let me just save you the trouble going. Let me just be you for a second. These fucking covenants.
Always
That's
with
all.
the covenants.
That's all, man. That's all.
Do you remember who Jonathan is?
No.
Jonathan was the guy that stuck his pole in honey.
No.
That's Saul's son, Jonathan.
Yeah? I don't like that guy.
So
So
I
far.
know because I listen to the show. So not only do we have the conversations on air, but then I listen to it. So it helps me absorb,
Reinforces
the
it
Bible more.
sure.
Yeah.
All right, you want to pick it up, man?
Sure. I'll begin. Jonathan's covenant with David. When David had finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Jonathan was bound to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Ooh, I guess they're like soulmates now.
Soulmates.
Soulmates. That's good, Scott. So David spoke with Saul, and what? Saul just like put in a good word for Jonathan?
No, maybe Jonathan was like just to the side. And he was like just like all dreamy-fied, like looking at David, like, oh, look. Like,
You think
so
this is
mesmerized.
like there's a love connection? Is that what you're saying?
maybe not a sexual love connection, but like a
Not yet.
soulmate. I mean, not yet.
Not yet.
I'm
All
not
right,
saying it
let's
couldn't
see.
happen. We're not ruling it out.
Saul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house. Then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul. Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that he was wearing and gave it to David and his armor and even his sword and his bow and his belt. David went out and was successful wherever Saul sent him. As a result, Saul set him over the army, and all the people, even the servants of Saul, approved.
Okay, so it's very clear that Jonathan really loves David.
I mean, he stripped right in front of
Just
him, man.
butt naked, gave him all his shit, and said, "Yeah, wear this."
You know what it is? Some guys, you know these guys. The guys with that hang dong.
Okay. Yeah.
They got the thing going on, so they take any opportunity to display it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, am I naked right now? Look at my giant dong.
This could be also, because David is like the head honcho now. He killed Goliath. Everybody's worshiping him. But Jonathan was pretty badass before.
What? David only killed one person. Jonathan wiped out entire fucking armies.
Right, but everybody forgot that already. So now he's using this opportunity to go, well, yeah, David's a cool guy, but look at this.
Yep.
Hey, so he's showing off his
Yeah.
shit. Let's bring the
And, by
attention.
the way-
Bring the attention back to my balls and my penis.
You know what impressed David the most about his penis?
What?
He was circumcised.
Oh, true. Do you think he had honey on the tip? 'Cause he had some honey on the tip at one time, right?
As they were coming home, when David returned from killing the Philistine, the women came out of all the towns of Israel, singing and dancing, to meet King Saul with tambourines, with songs of joy, and with musical instruments. And the women sang to one another as they made merry. Saul has killed his thousands and David his 10,000s. Saul was very angry, for this saying displeased him. He said, "They have ascribed to David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed thousands. What more can he have but the kingdom?" So Saul eyed David from that day on.
I'm watching you, David. I don't believe I really know you.
So Saul, what does he care at the end of the day? He's the king. Just fucking.
But he's not, right? Isn't David technically the king? They just haven't told Saul yet?
Well, technically, Saul is the king. Technically. But his days are numbered for sure.
So Saul tries to kill David. The next day, an evil spirit from God rushed upon Saul, and he raved within his house, while David was playing the lyre, as he did day by day. Saul had his spear in his hand, and Saul threw the spear, for he thought, I will pin David to the wall. But David eluded him twice.
What?
So this guy's chucking spears.
All right, did he chuck one spear and then it missed David and it hit the wall and then he had to pull it out of the wall and then he threw it again? Because it said Saul had his spear spear in his hand, and Saul threw the spear, for he thought, I will pin David to the wall, but David eluded him twice. So he's throwing the same spear over and over.
Do you think David wasn't really eluding? Like, Saul just missed horribly, and David didn't realize he was like the target of assassination?
Saul shoots like a stormtrooper.
Yeah. And David didn't even notice. Because I'm thinking, the first time, oh shit, you're bad. You made a mistake. Right. Second time, like, I'm thinking there's something not cool here.
It's kind of like 9/11. You know, the first plane hit, and it was like, it's like an accident. But then, like, once the second plane fucking hit, like, everybody fucking knew, like...
Yeah, this is kind of like 9/11, like slapstick comedy kind of shit.
Yeah,
like,
you know.
What they say, 2 pies in the face and 1 in a field in Pennsylvania. Real funny stuff. Saul was afraid of David.
Verse 12.
Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him, but had departed from Saul. So Saul removed him from his presence and made him a commander of 1,000, and David marched out and came in, leading the army. David had success in all his undertakings, for the Lord was with him. When Saul saw that he had great success, he stood in awe of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, for it was he who marched out and came in leading them. So wait a minute. So Saul wants David dead.
Well, he just wants him away from him.
So, all right, so he sends him away and puts him in charge of the army.
Yeah.
You know, a killing force.
Yeah.
You don't give your enemy an army.
That's true. Right. Well, maybe he was hoping, like, because he's in the army, it's sort of like in Germany, a big punishment during World War II was sending people to the Eastern Front because they were dying like so rapidly. Maybe he's sending him to like the front, so hopefully he dies, He's rolling the dice.
That makes sense. A lot of jealousy in Saul.
Yeah, Saul, all of a sudden, too, by the way, it's kind of like, it's an unearned turn. It's kind of like the end of Game of Thrones, where they tried to rush through the end and they turned Khaleesi into like this fucking crazed like serial killer for no reason. Where, yes, they had shown in the past that she's capable of mass murder, but there was always like a justification behind it, And you could see how they were trying to set up, like, through the writing process that maybe she's going to do what she wound up doing. But because they rushed through it, it was unearned. And I feel like Saul's turn is sort of unearned now. He was just a regular dude who was a little bit incompetent, making up rules as he went. Yeah. But he wasn't, like, petty like this.
Yeah. I mean, Jonathan was jealous, but at least he was respectfully jealous. And he was, I don't know. But now he's saying he's in awe of Saul. Saul's in awe of David, but still, whatever.
Well, because he's afraid. He knows God is protecting him because he tried to throw that spear at him. And I guess he's like, I'm such a great warrior. How can I possibly miss it? It can only be Yahweh. Yahweh's protecting him. So he's in awe of David.
Oh, okay. You can't spell Yahweh without awe, right? Awe is in there somewhere. Right?
Sure.
Yahweh. Yeah. David marries Michal. Is that pronounced Michael?
Michal.
Then Saul said to David, verse 17, "Here is my elder daughter, Merab. I will give her to you as a wife. Only be valiant for me and fight the Lord's battles." For Saul thought, "I will not raise a hand against him. Let the Philistines deal with him."
Only in the Bible can a section be titled David marries Michal and then begins, "Here is my elder daughter, Merab. I will give her to you as a wife." Like, who the fuck is Merab? I'm all ready for Michal.
Well, it's like, listen, Return of the Jedi was called Return of the Jedi, but I didn't really return until the end. There was a story between the opening credits and the time that the Jedi returned. So I think you're being harsh on the Bible, man.
All right. I'm going to give it You're right. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it a chance.
Did the Bible give you bad feedback that you didn't like? You're being a little harsh with it now? We're going to get right back to the show. But before we do, we'd like to invite you to come visit our Patreon.
Each week, we discuss a new topic at the intersection of society and religion.
We explore the encroachment of religion onto secular institutions, such as schools, workplaces, and government.
In addition, we'll investigate whether religion practices what it preaches.
So, after this episode, head on over to patreon.com/Libel to Bible and join in the conversation.
And now, back to the show.
David said to Saul, verse 18, "Who am I, and who are my kinsfolk, my family's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king? But at the time when Saul's daughter Merab should have been given to David, she was given to Adriel, the Maholathite, as a wife. Wait, he gave it to two people?
I mean, Saul is fairly incompetent.
Yeah, Saul kind of sucks, man. Can't believe we named a trilogy of episodes after him. Want to pick up verse 20, man?
Me?
Yeah.
What's the matter, Scott?
I don't know. I'm not feeling the same oomph I had last week, man.
You're very inconsistent, Scott.
Yeah, I am inconsistent, man.
What's going on?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, we didn't have to do the show tonight.
No, I didn't. Listen, I didn't know it was this bad, man. It's pretty bad.
No. You don't think you can catch like a second win?
I could, man.
You could?
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, don't write me off just yet. Just write me off for now.
First Samuel 18, verse 20. Now Saul's daughter Michal loved David. Saul was told, and the thing pleased him. Saul thought, let me give her to him, that she may be a snare for him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Therefore Saul said to David a second time, you shall now be my son-in-law. Saul commanded his servants, speak to David in private and say, see, the king is delighted with you, and all his servants love you. Now then, become the king's son-in-law. So Saul's servants reported these words to David in private. And David said, does it seem to you a little thing to become the king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and of no repute? The servants of Saul told him, this is what David said. Then Saul said, thus shall you say to David, the king desires no marriage present except 100 foreskins of the Philistines, that he may be avenged of the king's enemies. All right. Let's stop right here. So I had mentioned something like this earlier about foreskins. We were talking about like a hill of foreskins. There was like one episode where I forgot who, but like they piled up like a hill of foreskins. Yeah. I think we even titled the episode the one with like the hill of foreskins. Yeah. And I had told you I know the story that's coming up later that has to do with foreskins. This is the one. I knew something about David collecting Philistine foreskins. Why does he want their foreskins?
Well, it's a sign of obedience. They're converting over to their faith.
I don't think he's asking David to convert Philistines. I think he's asking him to kill Philistines, and the proof that he wants is their foreskins.
I think he's setting them up. He's like, go get me these 1,000 foreskins or whatnot, knowing he's going to die.
100%.
Yeah.
How would you know that it's
shady.
foreskins?
I mean, at this point in this society, they know what the fuck a foreskin looks like, man. Man, it's all about the foreskins, man.
I mean, this is very, very bizarre, Scott. Yeah. It's all very bizarre.
Yeah.
All right. Where was I?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says it right here. In verse 26. Did you read 26? When his servants told David these words, David was well pleased with the king. But right before that, now Saul planned to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. Oh, yeah, so he did plan this. See where my head is? I'm being profound. I'm like, I bet you he's trying to fucking get him killed. And you already read that.
All right. So I'm at the end of verse 25.
Okay.
Now Saul planned to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
When his servants told David these words, David was well pleased to be the king's son-in-law. Sure, he wants to go out and get foreskins, you know. He hates the uncircumcised. So he's like looking to circumcise motherfuckers. Yeah. When his servants told David these words, David was well pleased to be the king's son-in-law. Before the time had expired, David rose and went along with his men and killed 100 of the Philistines. And David brought their foreskins, which were given in full number to the king, that he might become the king's son-in-law. Saul gave him his daughter Michal as a wife. But when Saul realized that the Lord was with David, and that Saul's daughter Michal loved him, Saul was still more afraid of David. So Saul was David's enemy from that time forward. Then the commanders of the Philistines came out to battle, and as often they came out, David had more success than all the servants of Saul, so that his fame became very great.
Okay, so they collected the foreskins after they killed the guys? They were pulling foreskins off dead dudes?
I mean, it doesn't say. What do you think, Scott?
I would think that's the easiest way of doing it, right?
Do you think like they did it before the battle? Like they were like, excuse me, before we get into it, can we just get your foreskins?
No, maybe they subdued them and they did it while they were still alive.
I'm thinking after they were dead. It's like an Indian scout.
It's a weird practice, man.
They're either incapacitated or they're dead.
Yeah, all right. 1 Samuel 19. Jonathan intercedes for David. Doesn't seem like Jonathan needs to intercede for David. Seems like David's got this all under control. Like anything Saul does backfires in his face.
You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if you remember, but someone in the audience might remember. In the movie Braveheart, as like the Scottish armies are like fucking pushing the English back out of Scotland, the English king is like, he's focused on some other shit that's going on in like France, and he has to go to France, and he leaves his incompetent really homosexual son in charge of like running shit, and his son's like lover takes it upon himself to be like the fucking master general, you know? So he starts like advising like the prince about like how to handle Braveheart. Jonathan intercedes for David. This is kind of going to remind me of this, I think, because Jonathan is like the gay son, and he's going to go to Saul, who's like the king, you know, the king of England, and he's going to try and like smooth shit over for David. Now, in Braveheart, if you remember, what happened was the king comes back from his campaign in France. He puts his arm around the shoulder of his son's like friend, quote unquote friend, who's like advising him on military stuff, and they do like a walk and talk, you know, and they're walking and talking, and the king is like, yeah, yes. And he walks him to like a window at the tower and just shoves him out of the fucking tower. You don't remember this
I never
scene?
saw the movie.
Yeah. So, this is just reading this headline, Jonathan intercedes for David, made me think of that.
That's how it goes down that way.
You never saw Braveheart.
I never saw Braveheart. Was it gory?
It was super gory.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch it. I'm not really into that gory stuff, man.
I mean, I wouldn't say the movie is about gore, though.
No, I get it.
There were gory scenes.
1 Samuel 19. Jonathan intercedes for David. Saul spoke with his son Jonathan and with all his servants about killing David. But Saul's son Jonathan took great delight in David. Jonathan told David, "My father Saul is trying to kill you. Therefore, be on your guard tomorrow morning. Stay in a secret place and hide yourself. I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and I will speak to my father about you. If I learn anything, I will tell you." David just say, "I'm just going to go about business as usual because the dude keeps trying to kill me and keeps failing miserably. I don't really need your help."
Yeah, I'm good.
Your father's a spaz is a bad word now?
No.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. Because everything's a bad word now.
All right.
Jonathan spoke well of David to his father Saul, saying to him, "The king should not sin against his servant David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his deeds have been of good service to you. For he took his life in his hand when he attacked the Philistine, and the Lord brought about a great victory for all Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Why then will you sin against an innocent person by killing David without a cause?" Saul heeded the voice of Jonathan. Saul swore, "As the Lord lives, he shall not be put to death." So Jonathan called David and related all these things to him. Jonathan then brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as before.
I mean, I don't really take Saul at his word because Saul seems to flip-flop a lot.
Yeah, and he's like, "As the Lord lives, he shall not be put to death." Maybe he's planning on killing the Lord.
Which Lord? Baal?
No,
or Yahweh?
no, the Lord. The Lord. The Baals. The Lords. Yeah.
Michal helps David escape from Saul.
Well, you might be right.
Again, there was war, and David went out to fight the Philistines. He launched a heavy attack on them, so that they fled before him. Then an evil spirit from the Lord came upon Saul as he sat in his house with his spear in his hand, while David was playing music. Saul sought to pin David to the wall with the spear, but he eluded Saul, so that he struck the spear into the wall. David fled and escaped that night. So this isn't even Saul really doing this. This is, again, like Yahweh's fucking doing.
Again, that's all bullshit. These people are acting on their own accord, and they're using Yahweh either at the time to justify it or revisionist history saying Yahweh was doing this, man. This is people being people, man. Stop with the fucking excuses.
Saul sent messengers to David's house to keep watch over him, planning to kill him in the morning. David's wife, Michal, told him, "If you do not save your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed." So Michal let David down through the window. He fled away and escaped. Michal took an idol. Oh, my God.
Oh,
Here we
boy.
fucking go. God, what the fuck? Why would she even have an idol?
I don't know. Why do these things exist?
What the fuck is wrong with these people?
How about Saul outlaws that shit?
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong for to be outraged.
1 Samuel, what are we at? 1 Samuel 20?
19.
1 Samuel 19, verse 13. Michal took an idol and laid it on the bed. She put a net of goat's hair on its head. Of course she did. And covered it with the clothes. Because, that's what it says in the book. Put goats, like...
Yo, man, she's obviously making a dummy.
Oh, there you go. Right, so it's a big idol then. I thought, at first I thought an idol sort of like the one that Greg wore around his neck on his surfing expedition, right? That made him fall into the water. But now apparently we're losing like a big fucking idol.
Well, it's probably just probably head size.
You think so? It's just a head size. All right. So Michal took an idol and laid it on the bed. She put a net of goat's hair on its head and covered it with the clothes. When Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, "He is sick." Then Saul sent the messengers to see David for themselves. He said, "Bring him up to me in the bed that I may kill him." When the messengers came in, the idol was in the bed with the covering of goat's hair on its head. Saul said to Michal, "Why have you deceived me like this and let my enemy go, so that he has escaped?" Michal answered Saul, "He said to me, 'Let me go. Why should I kill you?'"
What, he said,
He didn't say any of that. It sounds like Saul's whole family is full of shit and lying pieces of shit.
Fucked up. Yeah. Verse 19. David joins Samuel in Ramah.
No. It's not verse 19.
What didn't I say? Verse 18?
It's all right. Sure.
Play that back. Did I say 19? It clearly says 18. Now David fled and escaped. He came to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. He and Samuel went and settled at Naioth. Saul was told, "David is at Naioth in Ramah." Well, that didn't take fucking long to get back to him. Then Saul sent messengers to take David. When they saw the company of the prophets in a frenzy, with Samuel standing in charge of them...
I'm sorry, hold on. You're reading this very quickly.
Yeah.
You're going to have to slow down so I can process everything that's going on.
Verse 20, man. You ready?
Yes.
Then Saul sent messengers to take David. When they saw the company of the prophets in a frenzy...
When they saw the company of the prophets in a frenzy. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So the prophets are in a frenzy?
With Samuel standing in charge of them. Okay, go ahead.
The Spirit of God came upon the messengers of Saul, and they also fell into a prophetic frenzy.
All right, so Samuel is in the midst of some kind of
some bullshit chanting.
It's that Pentecostal church bullshit where they're all they got their hands in the air, fucking channeling the Spirit of the Lord. Then they got one idiot running up and down the aisles, Another woman is passing out backwards that has to be caught because they're all fucking in the Spirit of the Lord,
What the actual fuck goes on in those places?
Well, they feel in the Spirit of the Lord. By the way, those places... Those are all those places in Brooklyn that you see, those storefront churches.
I've been in a couple of them, man. I ain't never seen no shit like that.
A lot of that is Pentecostal churches.
We should visit, right? All are welcome, right?
Sure.
Maybe that's
all are welcome. All are welcome. Yes, all are welcome.
Verse 21. When Saul was told, he sent other messengers, and they also fell into a frenzy. Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they also fell into a frenzy. Then he himself went to Ramah. I'm sorry. It's like all those movies where the hero gets jumped by 20 dudes, and he kicks the shit out of 20 dudes, and who's the 21st dude that goes, "I got this"?
Well, in Jack Reacher, have you seen Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise? Like, he gets confronted in a bar. They ask him to step outside. He steps outside. It's like 5 of them. He's like, I'm only going to have to fight like 3 of you. And they're like, what? He's like, well, and then he describes like the first guy, like, this is what I'm going to do to them. The second guy, the third guy. Usually by the time I'm done with the third guy, like the 4th and 5th guys are like out of there.
That makes much more sense than this nonsense. Verse 22. Then he himself went to Ramah. He came to the great well that is in Succoth. He asked, where are Samuel and David? And someone said, they are at Naioth in Ramah. He went there toward Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God came upon him. As he was going, he fell into a prophetic frenzy until he came to Naioth in Ramah. He too stripped off his clothes, and he too fell into a frenzy before Samuel. He lay naked all that day and all that night. Therefore it is said, is Saul also among the prophets?
Therefore it is said, to this day. You know, just yesterday I was saying to my wife, is Saul also among the prophets? You know what this is?
Stupid.
I mean, this sounds like Woodstock to me, really. It just sounds like a bunch of people getting together, fucking tripping on acid, listening to like music, and falling into a quote-unquote frenzy.
Yeah, getting naked and shit.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
One with the earth. So that gets us to 1 Samuel 20. The friendship of David and Jonathan. Aww.
It's probably like a spin-off that's not going to make it.
All right. David fled from... All right, there we go. It's only taken Scott 45 minutes to get into the episode.
Sorry.
The friendship of David and Jonathan. David fled from Naioth in Ramah. Where are they again, Scott? Are they in...
Naioth in Ramah.
That's where they are. They're in Naioth in Ramah.
Yeah. Seems like they've all had to go there.
Okay, Naioth in Ramah.
Yeah, definitely.
All of them went to Naioth in Ramah?
Yes.
Okay. David fled from where, Scott?
Naioth in Ramah.
There you go. He came before Jonathan. And said, what have I done? Gross.
Yeah.
He came before Jonathan. Oh, wait.
Yeah, go on, man.
No, I'm sorry. Can we talk about how selfish David is? That he came before Jonathan? He couldn't wait?
I see.
He couldn't wait for Jonathan to finish first?
I thought before meant in front of him, but before it was a timeline thing.
It could be anything. Listen, it could be right. It could be right.
But that's what they're into, man.
He came before Jonathan and said, what have I done? What is my guilt? And what is my sin against your father that he is trying to take my life? He said to him, far from it. You shall not die. My father does nothing, either great or small, without disclosing it to me. And why should my father hide this from me? Never. But David also swore, your father knows well that you like me, and he thinks, do not let Jonathan know this, or he will be grieved. But truly, as the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, there is but a step between me and death. Then Jonathan said to David, whatever you say, I will do for you. David said to Jonathan, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at the meal, but let me go, so that I may hide in the field until the 3rd evening. If your father misses me at all, then say, David earnestly asked leave of me to run to Bethlehem, his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. If he says, good, it will be well with your servant. But if he is angry, then know that evil has been determined by him. All right, I'm going to stop right now. Because a lot is happening. And again, with these stupid, like, contrived, like, this is what we're going to do, and here's the plan. And it's always like some stupid fucking bullshit that doesn't make any sense, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. Okay?
All right. So he's
First of all, on a human level, you understand what's going on. Saul is like, yo, my son's a fucking fanook with this fucking David character, and I can't fucking have that. Because in Deuteronomy or Numbers or whatever fuck, Yahweh expressly has forbidden like 2 dudes getting it on. Like, personally, I don't care, Saul says, but this goes against Yahweh's fucking wishes. And by the way, the spirit of Yahweh is constantly coming into Saul trying to kill fucking David. So maybe Yahweh's not digging this whole fucking relationship either.
I would subscribe to your theory if I didn't believe that this fucking Yahweh shit's just an excuse. Saul's a dick, and he's a standalone dick. He's a dick on his own, man.
All right. So you don't think he thinks that his son is like gay and it's embarrassing?
No. He might. No, both things might be true.
Okay,
but it's his own opinion.
All right. So
now
Yahweh
Yahweh didn't say shit because Yahweh doesn't exist. All right.
All right, fair enough. So now that's your stance now.
No, just for this one segment.
Okay. Just in this argument.
Yes.
All right. Just so we're clear, no continuity.
No.
All right, perfect. Now, what the fuck is the plan?
Jonathan's going to go have dinner with the king.
Okay.
At the new moon.
Okay, but David's going to be somewhere for 3 days in the field.
He's going to hide in the field.
Why? For 3 days. Why 3 days? Why not 1 day?
Well, I guess the new moon.
Why is he hiding in a field?
If there's no new moon, if it's a new moon, there's no light. So he's well hidden in the field. Maybe by the 3rd day, as the moon becomes waxing, it sheds light.
No, they know when the new
him.
moon is going to be.
Yeah.
It says, tomorrow is the new moon. So if you look at verse 5.
No, I get that. But he's going to stay in the field for 3 days because after the 3rd day, there's going to be too much light. You can't hide in the field when the moon comes out.
Okay.
So that's part 1 of the stupid story.
All right. So then he's going to ask, Jonathan is supposed to ask Saul if Jonathan can go to David's city, Bethlehem, because there's going to be like some kind of sacrifice there.
No.
Or he wants to ask Saul if David can go to Bethlehem.
He's basically explaining where David is. He had to take his leave of me to go to Bethlehem.
You think this is like a plot to fool Saul? It's like a misdirection.
They want to gauge Saul's reaction. He says it. If he goes, oh well, what David has to do what he has to do, that's fine. Okay. But if he's angry, he's going to be angry because he wants to kill him.
If he says good, it will be well with your servant. But if he's angry, then no. All right. I have a better gauge of how Saul feels. If Saul is repeatedly throwing spears at you, then in all likelihood, he's trying to murder you. How about that?
So David should slap Jonathan upside his head and go, I don't think we need this fucking plan, dude. There's holes in your wall.
This is David's plan. This is David's plan.
Oh.
He's telling Jonathan this.
I thought it was the other way around.
No.
Oh, okay.
If your father misses me, then this is David telling
Oh,
Jonathan.
because maybe Jonathan's stiff-necked. Like, Jonathan doesn't believe like he's even trying to kill him. He's like, what, all the spears at my head?
I got it. So this is David, like, he already knows. David knows,
yeah.
like, what the status is. Yeah. He's trying to prove it to Jonathan.
Yeah,
now he's like,
that's probably what
it's opening his eyes.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
This will prove it.
We're on the same page now. All right, great. So 1 Samuel 20, verse 8. Therefore, deal kindly with your servant, for you have brought your servant into a sacred covenant with you. But if there is guilt in me, kill me yourself. Why should you bring me to your father? Jonathan said, far be it from you. Far be it from you. If I knew that it was decided by my father that evil should come upon you, would I not tell you? Then David said to Jonathan, who will tell me if your father answers you harshly? Jonathan replied to David, come, let us go out into the field. So they both went out into the field.
Yeah. Isn't that like the last words between Abel and Cain? Like, let's take a walk. The field.
I want to show you something out there.
All right, verse 12. Jonathan said to David, by the Lord, the God of Israel, ! These are like incomplete sentences, by the way.
By the Lord, the God of Israel.
All right. When I have sounded out my father about this...
Sorry, what is it? All right. What do you mean, all right?
It's not really a complete sentence, man. It's not a complete thought. And that's why it's
an exclamation.
It's an exclamation. I told you I was reading like either H.G. Wells or Jules Verne or something, and it's
Jules.
Every time they exclaim like this, they use the word ejaculate.
Oh, no.
So like I don't 1800s maybe it was written. And it's like, so it would be like, Jonathan ejaculated to David.
Oh.
Like they used the word ejaculate all the time. It was kind of funny. Yeah. Giggity. Couldn't get through that book. When I have
Because
sound,
you kept ejaculating.
yes, I thought it was a command. By the Lord, the God of Israel, when I have sounded out my father about this time tomorrow, or on the third day, if he is well disposed toward David, shall I not then send and disclose it to you? But if my father intends to do you harm, the Lord do so to Jonathan, and more also, if I do not disclose it to you and send you away, so that you may go in safety. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So, if he says good things, I'll tell you. If he says bad things, I'll tell you, is what he's saying.
I'm
right?
going to tell you what's what, bro.
Yeah. May the Lord be with you, as he has been with my father. If I am still alive, show me the faithful love of the Lord. But if I die, never cut off your faithful love from my house, even if the Lord were to cut off every one of the enemies of David from the face of the earth. Thus,
Why would he die? Why would he? Would Saul?
Because he's saying, if my father intends to do you harm, meaning David, let the Lord do the same to Jonathan and more also. So if my father plans on killing you, let the Lord kill me too.
Okay.
Right.
I gotta say, I have no doubt at this point that these two are involved in a relationship.
Well, Jonathan, I think Jonathan definitely digs David. I don't know if it's reciprocal.
Okay.
Verse 16. Thus Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David. Wait, David has a house?
Well, his family.
But they're in Bethlehem. Whatever. Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David.
What's the confusion?
Like he made a covenant with David, not his house. Like what? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking.
Oh,
Klingon
so now
terms.
you're a biblical scholar. Now you know like who he made the covenant with.
It says it right here.
It says it right there. He made the covenant with the house of David.
Yeah, but the beginning of the last chapter was Jonathan makes a covenant with David. Now it's his whole house. I don't know. Maybe it cascades down. Yeah. I don't know. May the Lord seek out the enemies of David. Jonathan made David swear again by his love for him, for he loved him as he loved his own life. Yeah, so Jonathan loves him. Verse 18. Jonathan said to him, tomorrow is the new moon. You will be missed because your place will be empty. Place being this place at the table, right? Not his house. Right.
Either way.
On the day after tomorrow, you shall go a long way.
In all ways, his place will be empty. His butthole will be empty because, like, David won't be putting anything into it.
No, David's butthole will be empty.
Oh, you think David's, like, taking it?
Well, according to this, yeah. I mean, according to you merged with this, yes. On the day after tomorrow, you shall go a long way down. Go to the place where you hid yourself earlier.
He's going to go a long way down.
Go to the place where you hid yourself earlier and remain beside the stone there. I will shoot 3 arrows to the side of it as though I shot at a mark. Then I will send the boy saying, go find the arrows. If I say to the boy, look, the arrows are on this side of you, collect them. Then you ought to come, for as the Lord lives, it is safe for you and there is no danger.
Scott, I don't think you're reading this properly.
Maybe not. But let me just read this. Only like 2 more sentences. Let me finish this out, man. Verse 22. But if I say to the young man, look, the arrows are beyond you, then go, for the Lord has sent you away. As for the matter about which you and I have spoken, the Lord be between you and me forever. So Jonathan and David are bonded in Jonathan's eyes,
Can
right?
they not just flip a goddamn shekel?
Yeah, really.
Like if it's heads, then this. If it's tails, it's that.
No. This is actually like if he sits down with his father, and he hears that he wants to kill David. Still, he's gonna go out and shoot 3 arrows at a stone.
Right.
Then he's gonna send a kid to get him, and when the kid goes
One
to
if
get
by
him,
land, 2 if by sea.
yeah, like why can't you just tell the kid, tell David, get the fuck out of here? I guess no, because then the kid might rat him out. So no, it's David's in the fields watching.
So you like this plan? This is a good plan.
I'm not saying it's a good plan, but it's an understandable plan, unlike the rest of the plans so far.
You don't think it's too convoluted?
No, because now I understand. David's hiding in the brush.
Right.
So he can't go out. David, it's safe or it's not safe. He's got to, David's watching. He sees the signals. Like you said, 1 by land, 2 by sea.
Okay.
But I know how bad Saul's aim is. If that's passed down to his son, Jonathan, he might be aiming to miss something and actually hit David.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't think so because, David's obviously going to be a very famous king.
Why? Because some guy made a statue out of him?
No, because I know that David becomes a famous king.
Oh, that's right. You know stuff.
1 Samuel 20, verse 24. So David hid himself in the field. When the new moon came, The king sat at the feast to eat. You're right, Scott. The king sat upon his seat. Oh, look at me. I have a chair. I'm a big shot. Ooh, look at my chair. I'm the king. The king sat upon his seat, as at other times upon the seat by the wall. Jonathan stood, while Abner sat by Saul's side, but David's place was empty. Saul did not say anything that day, for he thought, something has befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. But on the second day, the day after the new moon, David's place was empty. And Saul said to his son Jonathan, why has the son of Jesse not come to the feast, either yesterday or today? Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. He said, let me go, for our family is holding a sacrifice in the city, and my brother has commanded me to be there. So now, if I have found favor in your sight, let me get away and see my brothers. For this reason, he has not come to the king's table.
So wait a minute. So why does he turn to Jonathan and go, why has the son of Jesse not come to the feast, either yesterday or today? Why does he go like, why does he say, hey, where's your little boyfriend?
Right.
What's with the weirdness?
Yeah, where's that Fanuc? Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan. He said to him, you son of a rebellious woman, do I not know? That's his wife or whatever, right? Or one of his wives. He probably has like fucking
He's a baby mama.
500
It's a baby
fucking,
mama,
right? It's a
yeah.
baby mama, yeah. Booty call kid. You son of a rebellious woman, do I not know that you have chosen the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? What?
What? What is right? I don't know.
But it is becoming more and more obvious that he's gay, right?
Yeah,
And he's bringing shame upon like the house of Saul.
Yes.
All right. Not from my eyes.
No, I know what you're saying. And I think anybody who's listening to this, and not the way I'm going to edit it to make you sound.
All right, verse 31. For as long as the son of Jesse lives upon the earth, neither you nor your kingdom shall be established. Now send and bring him to me, for he shall surely die. Then Jonathan answered his father Saul, why should he be put to death? What has he done? But Saul threw his spear at him to strike him. So Jonathan knew that it was the decision of his father to put David to death. Jonathan sprang up from the table in fierce anger and ate no food on the second day of the month, for he was grieved for David and because his father had disgraced him. So here we have Jonathan, who's so upset he won't even eat. Contrast that with the billionaire's kid at the Blink-182 concert while his father is at the bottom of the goddamn North Atlantic.
I like the fact that Saul says to Jonathan that David surely will die, but that's not enough. It takes Saul throwing the spear at Jonathan to say, oh shit, he's serious.
Yeah, it says he threw it at him. Like, why wouldn't it say he threw it like by him or like
because he wanted to strike him, but he maybe not kill him. He just wanted.
It sounds like Saul has terrible fucking aim.
He's awful.
Like you would think, like all these spear throws, one of them would have struck.
He's awful, man.
Right,
so I like the son of a rebellious woman. That's like the first
he's
son
the
of a bitch.
Preacher man.
It's like the first time like we've heard something like that. Verse 35.
There you go, Scott.
So did Jonathan get up and go, okay, thanks for throwing the spear at me. I got to go shoot 3 arrows at a rock right now.
I'll be right
suspicious
back.
about that.
He's like, he's like, Dad, can you excuse me? I totally gotta like use the bathroom and not at all shoot arrows to warn David about like your plan.
And I need
totally
a messenger.
using the bathroom.
Verse 35. In the morning, Jonathan went out into the field to the appointment with David, and with him was a little boy. Wait a minute. Would you sleep in the fucking house with Saul after he tried to like kill you with the spear? Like I'm not sleeping this one off.
I wouldn't, but I'm not sane, and I've never been in a religious frenzy.
He said to the boy, "Run and find the arrows that I shoot." As the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. When the boy came to the place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen, Jonathan called after the boy and said, "Is the arrow not beyond you?" Jonathan called after the boy, "Hurry, be quick, do not linger." So Jonathan's boy gathered up the arrows and came to his master. But the boy knew nothing. Only Jonathan and David knew the arrangement. Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said to him, "Go and carry them to the city." As soon as the boy had gone, David rose from beside the stone heap and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He bowed 3 times, and they kissed each other and wept with each other. David wept the more. Then Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, since both of us have sworn in the name of the Lord, saying, 'The Lord shall be between me and you and between my descendants and your descendants forever.'" He got up and left, and Jonathan went into the city. Aw.
So they had one final night together.
Aw, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Why didn't Jonathan go with them, man? How could he not go with them? He loved them so much.
He has the responsibilities of the kingdom, man. This is like Casablanca at the end when he's like, our problems don't amount to a hill of beans. We'll always have Paris. And then, she gets on the plane and fucking goes away, man.
No, I'm kind of thinking
There are
maybe
2 ships passing in the night. Play it again, Sam.
Frankly, Scallop, I don't give a clam. I think Jonathan, as much as he loves David, he loves power, too. And being the king's son is a nice, cushy job. Even though the king sometimes throws spears at him.
I mean...
And does not accept his gayness.
It's a responsibility,
It's a love story, man.
That gets us to 1 Samuel 21.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Scott?
Yes, it is correct, Rusty.
All right.
Way to hit the next button and see what's next.
David and the holy bread.
Ah, great bread. Bread. Is it unleavened?
What are you fucking... The body of Christ is bread. Are you making fun of Christ and his body?
I haven't met him yet, man.
His doughy body?
His doughy body.
David and the holy bread. David came to Nob, to the priest Ahimelech. Ahimelech came trembling to meet David and said to him, "Why are you alone and no one with you?" David said to the priest, "The king has charged me with a matter and said to me, 'No one must know anything of the matter about which I send you and with which I have charged you. I have made an appointment with the young men for such and such a place. Now then, what have you at hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread, or whatever is here." The priest answered David, "I have no ordinary bread at hand, only holy bread, provided that the young men have kept themselves from women." David answered the priest, "Indeed, women have been kept from us, as always when I go on any expedition. The vessels of the young men are holy, even when it is a common journey. How much more today will their vessels be holy?" So the priest gave him the holy bread, for there was no bread there except the bread of the presence, which is removed from before the Lord, to be replaced by hot bread on the day it is taken away.
I got questions.
Go ahead.
First, the first sentence you read, David came to Nob to the priest. Yeah. I read it quickly. I was like, David came to Nob the priest? What is that? What the hell is going on in this story?
All right, that's not really a question.
Yeah. So anyway, I do have questions, though.
Okay.
So basically, like, this is only for virgin men, this holy bread? And he was like, yeah, I've been kept away from women. Because he was with Jonathan, so it's like a loophole.
Maybe.
Like, you had the sex. You just didn't have the heterosexual sex.
So I think we have to start looking at the word holy differently. So we're thinking, because we're reading the Bible, holy, meaning like godly, of God, like holy. But maybe it's holy, like it's got holes in it for virgins to fuck. You know what I mean? It's like only virgins can get, like, we made this bread especially for virgins with holes in it so they could bang the bread.
Or it's before Wonder Bread, because Wonder Bread has no holes in it. It's like pre-Wonder Bread civilization.
Is it leavened bread?
I don't know, man.
because there's Yahweh has a problem with like bread that rises.
So wait. So let's get back to Jonathan. So is Jonathan bi? Because you remember he stuck his spear, his javelin, his staff in the honey.
So fucking binary, man.
All right, is he pan? Is he whatever? Is he?
Maybe he's pan.
All right, fine. I'm asking questions here.
Well,
man.
here's the thing, Scott. I don't think it's any of our business to ask. If he wants to let us know, or they want to let us know, then they will let us know.
Well, I think they have. If the metaphor of the tip of the spear in the honey was, sex with a woman, they have let us know. I just want to clarify.
I got to tell you this. It's very possible that just because he had sex with a woman doesn't mean he is bi or hetero. It just means it's like, because it's like a war, you're all adrenalized and you want to humiliate like your enemy. You know what I mean? Like rape is not about like gratification, right? Yeah. As you know.
What? You can't prove that. All right.
Verse 8.
Verse 7.
If you say so.
Now a certain man of the servants of Saul was there that day, detained before the Lord. His name was Doeg the Edomite, the chief of Saul's shepherds. Oh, shit. Oh, so David's there under a false pretense, by the way. The priest's
He's
like,
lying.
What are you doing here?
Yes.
And he was like, I can't tell you. I want a super secret mission.
Give me bread. He's probably about to lamb it,
Lamb it? Oh,
yeah,
nice.
he's on the lamb. He's on the run.
That's funny that he runs into a shepherd. He's on
Look
the
here,
lamb.
see, priest. I'm going to need that bread. I'm on a secret mission from Saul, see? Don't ask any questions. It's top secret, see? Now where's the bread?
David said to Ahimelech, is there no spear or sword here with you? I did not bring my sword or my weapons with me because the king's business required haste. The priest said, the sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you killed in the valley of Allah, is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If you will take that, take it, for there is none here except that one. David said, there is none like it. Give it to me. Yeah. All right, so the priest knows who he is. All right, I didn't realize the priest knew him.
I'm assuming, like, David is super fucking famous, man. Not only did he kill Goliath, which probably etched him into like fucking history, but then remember like Saul kept sending him to like battles to try and kill him, so he's probably like, he's super famous.
And they were singing songs that he killed 10,000s.
Like Julius Caesar was super famous before he took like command of Rome, just from his battle exploits. So Saul is like the original Caesar.
Oh, it comes here. David flees to Gath, verse 10. David rose and fled that day from Saul. He went to King Achish of Gath. The servants of Achish said to him, is this not David, the king of the land? Did they not sing to one another of him in dances? Saul has killed his thousands, and David his 10,000s. David took these words to heart and was very much afraid of King Achish of Gath. So he changed his behavior before them. He pretended to be mad when in their presence. He scratched marks on the doors of the gate and let his spittle run down his beard. Achish said to his servants, look, you see the man is mad. Why then have you brought him to me? Do I lack madmen that you have brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house?
All right.
I think that's a cliffhanger right there, right?
I think it is a cliffhanger right there. So David is...
Yo, this dude is great. This is like the Quentin Tarantino, the Pulp Fiction scene.
Yeah. What is that sign? Do you see a sign outside my house that says dead N-word storage?
Yes, this is exactly that.
You know why there's no sign that says no, Yeah,
all right. Let's see where Quentin Tarantino got his inspiration.
So David's on the run from Saul.
Yeah. Because
Saul is claiming that Yahweh's spirit is making him evil. Mm-hmm. Right? It's probably just the syphilis. It's probably the syphilis.
Could be that. So now also remember, there's one of Saul's shepherds, like his best shepherd, is in the presence of all this. So he's going to be able to report back to Saul what's going on. So now David's playing the madman role. So this is high drama, man.
Do you think that Jonathan and Saul will get back together? I mean, their love spans cultures and classes.
Honestly, I'm feeling like the love is very one way. I think David's down with it, but he's like down with it just for the moment. You know, he's like, he's cool.
Maybe he's like using him. Maybe he knows like what's best. So
I don't know if he's using him to satisfy his needs for the moment.
I'm saying it's the prince. It's the prince. It's access.
Oh, okay.
It's access to information. It's access to power. It's access to, you know.
There could be some of that.
I ain't saying he a gold digger.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, it's a one-way love right now, man.
Right.
I think TKA made a freestyle
One-way
song
love.
about. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Don't sing it.
I wasn't going to. Not TK.
All right.
No one can match the vocal integrity of TKA.
At least K. T and A weren't so good.
I like TNA.
Oh yeah, nice. On that note,
we are done.
we are done.
Goodbye, peasants.